Flying geese are popular quilting designs. They're made up of one large and two smaller right-angled triangles. These units are often sewn into rows that are used for borders or for sashing. They're also used as individual blocks or sections of other blocks. In this video, I'll show you how to cut and sew a 3 by 6 inch flying geese unit using half square and quarter square triangles. A square cut on the diagonal forms two half square triangles, or HSTs. Quarter square triangles, or QSTs, are formed when you cut a square on both diagonals. These half square triangles work best in the corners because their straight of grain and cross grain are around the edges. This quarter square triangle also has its grain on the edge. This will help keep this block flat and prevent stretching. For these corner triangles, I'll cut a square 3 7/8 inches, and then I'll cut it on the diagonal. I got this number by measuring the finished size, which was 3 inches, and then adding 7/8 to that measurement. The triangle in the middle has a straight of grain on the longest edge. Well, I cut a square that is 7 1/4 inches, and then I cut it on both diagonals. I got this number by measuring the finished size, which was 6 inches, and then adding 1 1/4 inches for these seam allowances. When using this method, I do end up with 3 extra triangles, but I can save those for another project or make some more flying geese. Lay out your block and then put right sides together. You want to make sure that this edge is lined up, that the points meet, and that this edge is lined up. Up here at the top, there'll be a little ear or a little tip shooting out. That doesn't match up to anything, so don't worry about that. We'll cut that off later. I don't like to use pins on this because it's a small piece and it has bias edges both on the top and the bottom. So I have to be really careful when I guide this through my machine. I'll start with a scrap of fabric to help ease this into the machine, and also so my triangle tips don't get eaten down here by my feed dogs. I'm sewing 1/4 inch seam. I have a 1/4 inch foot on that helps guide me on that seam, and I'm just barely touching this, very lightly, guiding this through. I don't want to pull or stretch this as it'll cause distortions with my final piece. I notice I'm getting out of alignment down here, so I'll just move that over just a little bit and maybe hold it with my scissors. Just lightly touch that, because remember, that's bias and I don't want to stretch or pull it. Now I'm ready to press. I always have to remind myself that pressing is just as important as cutting and sewing. Sometimes I'll use a towel to help with this process, but it's not necessary. I do like to use a hot dry iron, and I first press down to register my seams. Then I carefully flip this triangle back and press. I have a grid system on my ironing board cover that sometimes I like to use when making flying geese units, because I want to make sure when I flip my triangle back that it lies on this 90-degree corner. If you are having problems with this and you don't have a grid system on your ironing board cover, you can draw a 3 1/4 inch rectangle on paper and use that as a guideline for pressing. If you find that your flying geese unit is short in the corner, then you can do a number of things. Either start over again, but first what I would do is try pressing, because sometimes we're off in our pressing. So I can already see I had a problem there with pressing, and you'll notice I'm getting closer to what needs to be. I can squirt that with water now and sort of use that to get that back in place. Looks much better. I put right sides together just like before, making sure to match up the bottom, the point, and this edge. Sew my 1/4 inch seam, and here's my final block ready to go. I can use my rotary cutter or scissors to trim off those tips. Want to learn more about half square and 1/4 square triangles? Check out the links below. If you would like to explore more ways for making flying geese, such as using templates, using the quick corner method, or paper piecing, visit learnhowtoquilt.com or click on the links below. Please share our videos with your friends. Thanks.